there! Welcome back to Beauty Bee, where today we're doing some little mini reviews. All of these things I'd hauled somewhat recently, I would say over the past 3 or 4 months, and in my monthly haul video, where I usually do try to give little mini reviews, I don't think I had strong opinions yet about any of these. Some of these I still don't have strong opinions about, but I thought I'd give you a little update. So we have, do I know how to count? We have 7 products sitting in front of me. There is nothing connecting these other than that they're somewhat recent and I didn't have opinions on them in my haul video. So I think we're going to start with one nail polish. This is from Sally Hansen. It is the Insta Dry, and this is in the shade Pink Blink, and it is a baby pink. And while I like the formula on these, I knew that I liked the formula on these. I've owned a couple dozen of them probably over the years. This color was throwing me off a bit, and it still kind of is. I do not think that this color looks very good on my hands. It brings out the red in my hands. On my toes, it actually works pretty well though. Also works pretty well as a base for a lot of the nail stickers that I have. I have so many floral nail stickers, and you know, a baby pink is a great one to go with a lot of those. So, formula's great. Color is probably going to be hit and miss for, I imagine, a lot of people. Next up is from Revlon. This is one of their Revlon Super Lustrous Shine lipsticks in the shade Black Cherry. In comparison to the standard Super Lustrous lipsticks, the packaging on these is a little bit bigger, and these are not shaped like the Super Lustrous, which are, you know, pointed like a standard lipstick. These are just cut on a slant. And this is, I believe, the deepest shade in the range. This is a very deep wine shade. On my lips, I find this a little bit difficult to wear. I think it looks really pretty, but if my lips are in bad shape, which they have been consistently for the past like 2 months, this will really gather in the parts that feel dry, and it makes my lips almost look like they're bleeding, which is not generally the vibe we're going for. You know, I don't think I had this before Halloween, or that could have actually come in handy, but yeah, I hope that next winter my lips will not get quite as dry, and then I think I will really enjoy this because it is a beautiful effect. I will link a video up in the cards where I was wearing this. And I think you can tell that the color is great, but around my lip line, it gets a little bit funky. We're just gonna go through these pretty rapid fire, I think. The next item that we have to talk about is a fan favorite that I just can't get into personally. This is a lifter gloss from Maybelline. I have mine in the shade 3, which is Moon. And this is a plumping lip gloss. It has a little bit of pink to it and quite a bit of shimmer. I just don't find this all that comfortable. When I put on a lip gloss, I generally want something that feels nourishing. I want something where it's giving me similar effects to a lip balm as well as that shine. And that just isn't this product. This is plumping. I don't actually feel that it really plumps my lips. It just feels a little bit on the, just a little bit, I can't stress that enough, on the tingly side. I don't really observe any plumping, which is fine. It is a very, very shiny gloss though, and it is pretty. I can definitely see why people like these. It's just not my favorite formula. And additionally, I don't really care for this huge doe foot. I don't get what the point of that is. I don't really like the packaging on this gloss either. It just seems unnecessary. I feel like a lot of the elements, the really big doe foot, the super bulky packaging, are just there to let you know that this is Maybelline's take on the Fenty Gloss Bomb. But I don't really care for it. And I think that I would probably like this lip gloss a little bit more if it was in smaller packaging with a more standard doe foot applicator, but I still don't think it would be a favorite. This one's just okay by me. Now we're going to move over to some eyeshadow. I have really 3 groups of eyeshadow to talk about today, but 4 products. So the first one we're going to go through is the e.l.f. Rosewater Quad. I've actually had this one for longer than anything else in this video. I think I've probably had this one for 5 months, but I didn't open it for quite a while. And this is the lighter pink purple one in the line. There's also, I guess it's not a purpley one. There's a slightly deeper one, Berry Bad, which is more of a reddish berry. But I don't even think this one reads as that pink purple. Let me give you some swatches. I mean, there is some pink to it, but I almost think that it just reads as a little bit of a cool toned neutral palette, at least on my skin tone, which isn't that surprising because I do have a lot of pink in my skin. I find that pinkish tones tend to look pretty natural on me. My thoughts on this Rosewater Quad are pretty similar to my thoughts on all of the other e.l.f. bite-sized quads that I've tried. I think that these are nice quality. I think that if you do not have similar shades, you will probably be really happy with these. Especially at this $3 price point, I don't think you are likely to find a better version of these shades. However, if you already have, you know, these sort of neutral pink shades that you're happy with, I don't think there's anything so amazing about these that they are worth purchasing. Very pretty. It's everyday wear, very everyday wearable. I will say my arm is still a little bit wet from a previous video that I filmed, so I think that they are showing up a little bit richer in pigment than they actually are. This deep shade in particular has a little bit of chalkiness to it. I don't think that it's a difficult shade to work with, but it's not a super easy shade to work with. And I think that this shade in particular could really throw some beginners off. And I just don't think that's ideal in a palette at this price point with these kind of basic, widely available shades in it. I feel like beginners are probably a good chunk of their audience with this. And yeah, not crazy about it. I do find myself using this sort of light purple mauve shade quite a bit as a transition color, and I have used the lightest pink as a face highlight. But overall, this has just not managed to make its way into my constant rotation. I feel like every time I use this, it's because I'm thinking, oh, I haven't used my e.l.f. Rosewater Quad in a while. I should really pull that out. It's never because I'm really excited to use this. Yeah, it's just not an exciting product to me. I don't think there's really anything special about it. Next up, let's just move straight from e.l.f. to Pat McGrath because I like juxtaposition here. This is the Ecstasy Sublime palette. This has 5 shades. 4 of these are super metallic, and the 5th shade, this deep brown, is, I would say it's like a satin with quite a bit of glitter in it. I don't think it's quite a matte with glitter, but in the context of this palette, it is something that I use like a matte. I will pretty regularly, if I'm using this palette, put one of these 3 shimmers really all over my lid, and then add a little bit of this on the outer corner. And I think it looks really nice. So let me swatch a couple of these. Again, my fingers are going to be a little bit wet, so take my swatches with a grain of salt. But let's see, let's move this direction because I think that'll line up with how the palette is laid out. They are really, really pretty. These are kind of a thicker formula. I suspect that if this was in paper packaging, that you would eventually see that sort of weird oil stain that you get with some indie shadows. I think there's enough oil in these that would probably end up happening, but I think that same oily texture is what gives them this beautiful shine. So that's going to be a matter of preference. I kind of like it. I don't know how obvious it's going to be on camera, but this red shade is a little bit of a duochrome. On my hand from this angle, it's looking sort of brown with maybe a tinge of olive to it. And I don't know if I can get it to show up as anything but red in the viewfinder. But anyway, know that there's a little bit of a duochrome to that. These 2 shades just have the most stunning, super metallic, sparkly shine to them. They're just gorgeous. I think that this shade is my favorite in the palette. It is this really light gold with some green to it. I am finding that this is a type of shade that I am kind of a sucker for, of a yellow gold with a little bit of green. This shade is probably the least impressive in a swatch. However, I mean, if you look at everything in comparison, this is very smooth. It looks just pretty on the eye, not stunning in the way that some of these other shades do, but that makes it really easy to wear for every day, really easy to wear in situations where maybe something this super shiny isn't appropriate. Overall, I'm really, really happy with this palette. I wish that I could still get the 5-pan, more colorful one, or what I really wish they had was a more cool-toned version of this. I think you can tell this is a very warm, very golden copper-based palette, and while it's very pretty, it's just not really my color scheme to the same extent that a little bit of a more cool-toned version would be. But gorgeous, super great. I also had a really good experience with the Pat McGrath website and their shipping. I've heard that it can be really bad for some people, but I managed to get this for I think $14. Shipping was free. It was fast. I think this got to me 4 or 5 days after I ordered it. No problems. So sorry to hear that that doesn't work out for everyone, but so far my single interaction with the Pat McGrath website has actually been pretty good. And then finally we have 2 Super Shocks. These are from the Disney Princess range that they put out a few months ago. I bought these over Black Friday for I think $3 a piece. I got my 2 favorite princesses, which also just happened to be the 2 colors that I was most interested in from a makeup point of view. So the first one is the Tiana shade. This is Down in New Orleans. It is a green with some gold to it. It's a really pretty shade. I don't have anything that's quite this color. I don't think I really see things that are quite this color very often. It's very, very pretty. And the other shade that I have is from, well, the other shade that I have is the Cinderella shade, and it is A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes. And this is a very light blue with some silver to it. I actually don't think it's showing up quite true to color in the monitor. It looks like it's washing out just a little bit, but it is a very light blue. And a swatch of that one. Let me build that up just a little bit more. So I do not think that these are the same formula of Super Shock. The Down in New Orleans has lots of fine glitter to it, and the Cinderella one is a lot smoother, and there's really no difference in color from one speck to the next. It's just very smooth. I find myself using the Cinderella one a little bit more, like we talked about earlier. Cool tone neutrals, kind of my thing, and this is a stunning topper for pretty much any cool tone neutral look. I also find myself using this on top of pinks quite a bit. This just brings out something really interesting. It definitely transforms the shades just a little bit, but it has enough sheerness to it that you can see the original shade underneath. Stunning. This green is also very beautiful. Honestly, I could wear it today. Let's actually just stick a little on. Why not? Actually, it might be just not different enough from my eyeshadow to not make a huge impact, but no, you can see that. Super, super pretty. I'm really happy with the formula on both of these shades. I just find myself using the Cinderella one a little bit more because it tends to go with more of the eye looks that I wear day to day. Tiana is stunning when I wear it, but just doesn't get quite as much use. Both of these, unfortunately, had a little bit of a quality issue with my Tiana one, smashed in transit. Ulta was able to take care of it and gave me a refund because they could not send me a new one, but it's not a huge deal. I'm just, I would like to have a pristine looking one, and my Cinderella one is just not glued in very well. You see, yeah, I mean, the pan just falls out. So I will need to glue that in at some point. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. And honestly, I've owned it for almost 2 months now, and it has never really bothered me that much. So I don't know what that says about me, but probably nothing good. I'm pleased with those shades. I think the formula on them is nice, but because of the small quality issues, I'm really glad that I waited and got them at the $3 price rather than the original $6 price. I think that $6 is a little bit steep for these. And I might be wrong. These might actually be $7. I think that they generally tack on an extra $1 or $2 for the Disney items. They are not better than any other Super Shocks to the point where I think you should pay a premium for them. That seems a bit silly to me. They aren't even that themed. They have the little holographic, in this case, pumpkin. And here, I don't even know what kind of flower you would call this. I want to say a lotus, but I don't think that's right. And they have the two-toned pink packaging, but they're really no cuter than the standard Super Shocks. I wouldn't buy them for the princess elements. I would look at them strictly from the makeup side of things. And I think that about wraps things up for today. I hope that this video wasn't too all over the place. Thank you so much for watching, especially if it was. I appreciate that very much. I hope you'll consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed. Let us know if you have any of these products. In particular, I would be really interested to hear other people's opinions on the lifter glosses. I feel like I've heard nothing but really positive feedback on these so far, and I want to know if I'm the only one who isn't over the moon about these. Unintended pun. Thanks again. Really hope we'll see you next time. Bye!